should appear on my screen in a minute. The 30-second delay is always frustrating. Okay, looks like I'm live. Good morning. Welcome to my show, Saturday Morning Wake and Bake. Today I have good news. One, I overcame my technical problems from last week. I'm going to go ahead and discuss that a little bit. It's real interesting. I have I've been having trouble streaming videos in recent versions. I use Firefox as my browser, and I have been having problems streaming videos. So I started looking up, Googling for fixes for my internet problems. I found one. I found a configuration change to make in Firefox that allow my videos to stream better. Well, that same setting that allowed me to stream videos that I'm watching, stream incoming streams, allow the incoming streams to be better. It also somehow is what broke my my ability to stream outbound with YouTube, and some issues I was having with Facebook as well, the same setting. So it's a setting that I now have to toggle back and forth depending on what I'm doing, so that I can have good video viewing experience on one setting, and then video streaming experience on a different setting. So there's the tech problems. Shoot, it's now resolved. I know what to do so I can stream on Saturdays. Next up, I want to talk about gaming. And I'm not saying that I'm the first person to ever think of this. I'm not even saying that I haven't had somebody mention it to me in the past, but it is something that I have thought of and thought about a great deal as far as gaming is concerned in the last few weeks, a couple months maybe. And that is there's a pencil and paper game we used to play back in the 70s, 80s called Dungeons and Dragons. It's a pencil and paper fantasy role-playing game where you play, wizards and warriors and rangers and whatnot. You fight imaginary creatures, and it was a very, very everybody knows what Dungeons and Dragons. It's a very, very robust game because they started making more and more supporting documentation to make the game extremely complex. And I don't mean difficult. I just mean you never ran out of stuff. It was complex enough that every adventure was unique. Every character you create is going to be. You just can't have the same thing. It's so complex that the same thing never happens twice. It's always a new thing. So, very good game as far as fantasy role playing games go. And it went through some incarnations, different changes. They had D&D 3, then D&D 3.5, and 3.5 is one that they ended up open sourcing during one of the under an open gaming I say open source open. They released a lot of it under an open gaming license, and it's on the internet, so you can actually play AD&D, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 edition, and it's actually quite popular for many reasons, but it is really the essence of what D&D became when it became Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. When they had the old Dungeons and Dragons, the original, and then they came out with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and it was the 3.5 edition of that, which was fully fleshed out, had all the rules and all the dice roll tables and everything was fully explored, and they had all contingencies covered pretty much. And that is all available on the internet for free. It's free download. You don't get pictures, you don't get the illustrations that are in the books, but you get all of the text and all of the tables for free. In its further incarnations, after being bought out by this company and that company, I think is now owned by Hasbro. They're now up to D&D for D&D 5, maybe 6. I don't know, 7. I don't know. They're in different incarnations, and each incarnation of the game since 3.5 has been an effort to downsize and streamline the game so that pretty much every character plays the same way. It's a similar thing that happened with EverQuest. EverQuest, when it was owned and being created and run by Variant Corporation, the original creators, it was robust and complex. And everything that Sony did to it after they bought it was to strip away the complexity and simplify and streamline it so that no matter what character you play, whether it be whatever race and class combination, an elven ranger or a dwarven cleric or a whatever, they all start at the same place. They all play the same way. You do the same quest every X number of levels. You get equipment upgrades, etc. It's all you don't get any. There's no differentiation in play style from one character to the next. They're all exactly the same. That's one of the reasons that I quit playing EverQuest. I boycotted it and left it, and it's why I play the fan-based servers, which still embrace the older. They don't go beyond certain, the older fan-based servers. They stop at certain points in the progression where Sony made these changes to streamline the system. The fan-based servers embrace the older game design where the world was complex and characters were different. That's what's in 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, AD&D 3.5e. It's out there on the internet, and it is something that can be played on Zoom. You don't have to be together, and you can chat. It can be a social interaction as much as it is a gaming interaction. I mean, you can't very well play Pinochle when you can't exchange cards. I mean, you can do it with a virtual, you can virtual gaming, but you can't. You aren't in control of anything. You're just playing a game online. With what I'm suggesting here is that Dungeons and Dragons, the tabletop pencil and paper game that we played 20 years ago, 40 years ago, however long it's been, a long time ago, that game can be played in its original state, pencil and paper tabletop game via this type of video interaction. There's going to be minor issues that have to be worked out. I've thought about this. The one I thought about is the dice rolling. You have to roll dice, and you have to be honest about your dice rolls. There's a certain amount of it, but it's the same game. There's really nothing to prevent a solution to how to play this game via Zoom or Google Meetings or whatever. There should be something that you could do and play. I would love to have more of my. I would love to have more real life contacts who play on my preferred EverQuest fan base server, but that's not going to happen. But because not everybody wants to go through the hassle of downloading and configuring and blah 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 for something they may not want to do. But with Dungeons and Dragons, everything's online. You can consult. You can just click over to web browser, look up the rules, everything is online, so that you don't actually have to download anything. You can access it through your web browser, and you can play Dungeons and Dragons. You can download. I think I saw last time I was looking at it. It's been a while. I didn't research this because I have researched it so thoroughly in the past. What's actually available for AD&D 3.5 online, and there's quite a lot. There are character sheets that you can print out. I think there's even PDF character sheets that you can download, so you can edit them real time and save them in a PDF form, so that there's a lot available for Dungeons and Dragons to play it online. That's my gaming thing, and I'm going to be pursuing that idea in the coming months. It's not going to be something I'm going to have ready to unveil next week, but I am going to be looking into that Dungeons and Dragons in a Zoom or Google Meets or whatever environment, online environment, something to do. The thing about gaming that there's a school up in the northeast somewhere, northeastern United States, I seem to recall it being up there, Boston or somewhere. There's a school that is it's a private invitation only type school, which you can think conspiracy theory or whatever you want about that, but it's a school that teaches math, social studies, geography, etc., 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 using gaming as a model, and every term is that class creates a game. They create everything from the world itself to all the little shops and players and economy and everything. So they learn a great deal about life, things they need to know, real world knowledge about economics and social the relationships between the politics between social groups and countries and things. They learn about those things in the process of creating a game. That's just in the process of creating it. In playing a game, you learn the same things. You learn the same things that were put into the creation of it. You learn the same thing. So you parents who think that kids who are playing games are wasting their time, some of them might be. If they're playing Pong or any of these little handheld when they're just playing with themselves, they may as well be playing with themselves. But if they're in an interactive game that with a complex, robust world that has an economy where you have to buy and sell and barter and go out and earn, you know what I mean, where you have to generate income in order to advance your character, that's um, that's a legitimate learning environment for children to learn things that they're going to real world skills they're going to need. I can't count the number. I mean, seriously, when if somebody is making an offer to buy a certain item that you can go out and you can farm out in the world, farming is where you go out and you kill these skeletons or whatever to get bone chips, right? Whatever you farming some item that somebody else needs and they're willing to pay for it. They just don't want to take the time to farm it. So they pay lower level characters, up and coming characters, new characters. It's how new characters make money. This is an economy that's in the game, and that if you are a new character and you're trying to figure out, well, I want to buy that item that costs 50 platinum pieces, and this person over here is offering to pay me one platinum piece for every one of these things that I can acquire. A bone chip, for example. Well, I need to go out and kill a bunch of skeletons and get bone chips, and I can calculate, given time and given this just happens naturally. It's not like you have a quiz of setup where how many mobs did you have to kill. It's just something you think about as you're doing it. You realize, well, I had to kill 175 skeletons to get 50 chips of bone to go over and sell to this guy for 50 platinum pieces so that I could go and buy this item that I want for 50 platinum pieces. It's the you start doing math in your head naturally, and real world applications. It translates into, say, for example, uh, I make $10 for mowing this person's yard and $10 for mowing that person's yard, and I do that every week. I mow there, so that's $20 I make every week, and I'm saving up for that thing that costs $100. The real world math then starts happening. That's a real world math problem in a game. I have to go over here and kill these monsters X number of times in order to get these things that I need to do this other thing, etc. And the math happens. But similarly, one of the other things that is really, really important about gaming is if you allow it, and then you put a time constraint on it, you can play for 2 hours. 2 hours, that's your time limit. An hour, an hour of online play, it can take 15, 20 minutes to even find somebody that you're willing to play with or who's willing to play with you. The first 15 minutes of just getting logged in. So you need to give time an ample window. It's not like a 15-minute recess to go outside and run around and burn energy. You want to play. You want to be able to immerse yourself into the environment of play, which is freeform within the game. It's freeform play. It's not like it. Well, some of them are divided into teams, but the games I'm talking about are freeform, massively multiplayer freeform games. Uh, Time management. You tell them they've got 2 hours. Well, they're going to learn how to expedite and not lollygag about getting logged into the game, getting set up, getting prepared to play, and finding someone to play with in a very timely manner. That's about getting ready to play, preparing to play, and you need to allow for that when for yourself or for your kids or for your friends. You need to say, hey, get together and play. You need to allow for the fact that it's going to take a few minutes to get set up. Whereas And this is for an online game because you're going to have to log in, you're going to have to get your toon moves to the locations, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of complexity involved in just getting ready to play. Whereas with, that's on for an online game, whereas with Dungeons and Dragons, you pick up your notebook where you put it down, and that's where you resume. There's not a whole lot of preparing to play other than getting your snacks and chips and all your dice and your figurines and whatever else accoutrements you have. It really boils down to you got your notebook and your pencil, because it's a pencil and paper game and everything is now online. So I'm getting ready to play, and this is going to become more and more about play as the weeks progress. This show is. Got one more thing to mention here. I don't know. I don't want to be too confident about this because it really is hard. It's a hard thing to do. I mean, it's really hard. But I think I'm on day 6 now of having quit smoking. And I'm not talking about weed, I'm talking about tobacco, quit smoking tobacco. I had to make a compromise. I've already lost all my teeth, so I went back to chewing tobacco in order to try to rescue my lungs. That's just a personal note to my friends and family. I'm trying. That's all for today.